Dark to light coming around the corner. Our light's coming from the left and above to a degree. So on these rocks so far, I've been using mostly ultramarine blue, a little bit of cobalt blue, raw umber, and white. Now I'm coming to here. I'm getting rid of the blues, and I'm going to titanium white, yellow ochre, and a bit, and just a hint of raw umber. Not much, but I want some warm light here, so that's what we're doing. Okay. Maybe that's a bit colorful. No, I'll just do that. Actually, let's just do that. More of these lines will disappear as the painting progresses, but so far I'm leaving most of them in so I can give myself a good overview of what I'd like to remove later. And I can go in later and add a few highlights here and there as well. Where I want to bring the rock, I want to put more light back into the rocky structure in places. Okay, that makes for a little bit of popping going on there. We'll carry this highlighting a little bit in this direction for the moment. I don't want to get too carried away just yet. That's something I'll play with later today. Okay, this boulder is quite a bit more forward. It also goes around the corner. So that's going to allow us to put some strong dark against here. That's going to allow us to make this pop a little bit. You know? Popping here, very strong here, popping here. We'll come into this water, it's going to carry some light. Yeah, I think so far so good. But I've got too much white mixed in here. I'm far too pale of a gray, so I'm just going to scrape off palette a little bit here and go back into some deeper grays. I don't need to wash my brush or anything because ultimately I do want a little more white in there still. But we'll go back to ultramarine blue and raw umber. Bit of white, we don't want it too dark. And I also don't mind it a little bit bluer. How's that against there? Okay. I will go... Yeah, I'll start with that. Just on that edge. And almost immediately we'll add a hint of white, a hint more ultramarine blue, so that our next stroke is already slightly lighter. Okay, and a little more white. So we're rapidly raising our value as we work our way to the left here. I don't want this to be as important as this, but in general, I don't want just a flat dead rock either. That's boring. That's pretty dark for up there. Here, let's finish this. Let's finish this spot right down here first. Okay. Even there, that needs a little more light. There we go. Got a little too dark there, but it's fine. You just make those adjustments as you go. Okay. A little more ultramarine blue. A little more raw umber. Seeing as we are at the top of this rock, we're going to be catching a little bit of ambient light, from the sky. Maybe even a hint of light glinting off from the sun, maybe not, we'll see. But one thing I do want to do is warm it up a little, so we'll add a little more raw umber in the next couple of strokes. So I'm not doing very many strokes with the same color on it. Yeah. Trying to keep it somewhat interesting. And we're beginning to come around a bit of a corner now, so we'll keep going with the light and warming up the color slightly. Not down here so much, but up top I would like to. That's a very thick black line I have going here. I'm going to break that up. It's too much. Okay. Um, let's go a little bluer now. Bit of ultramarine blue. Add it to the mix. A little dabble do you there. A little dabble do you there. Okay, that's a line I would like to keep more or less intact. So let's do that now before I forget about it. Let's not be too fussy. I have this tendency to neatly color between the lines, and that's just never a good idea. It loses its, the painting will lose its painterly feel if you do that. All right, a little more blue. We're going to drop the value slightly. Because we're going back around this corner and this rock facet here. Could stand to be a hint darker. I don't want to do it dark from here to here on this long thin triangle because I don't want to visually break this big slab in two. Not right here. We're going to end up pointing here. We'll line up with this and we'll go in that direction. I don't want it. I want it to be offset a little bit, so that's why I'm not going to go right through to the bottom. I'm stopping it right there. Then we'll go back up to a little higher value. Sort of matching what we have there. I do want to go a little closer to the water with these strokes right now. If I go too far, it's not a problem. I can take a brush with some dark paint and cut into them or go over them if I have to. Sort of like that. Okay, I'm gonna have to snuggle pretty close to the camera here. Ugh. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I know that in general you guys prefer to have the camera on the left-hand side when painting, because of course I'm right-handed. So then you can see what I'm doing more closely. But I'm so close to the camera, my head's going to get in the way. And it's going to affect... I want the freedom to move my head far to the left, because I look towards the right of the painting as I'm painting it. Let me just flail my hands around here and explain that to you in a moment. What are we doing here? Get our... I've got to rearrange the tripod a little bit. Okay. Thanks for your patience. Now back to it. So far so good. Yes, you know, you have these very square chiclet. They look like molars. You know, that's fine. Some of the lines will be obliterated later. I'm just in painting the rock right now. I'm not finishing it. I'll do the grooming on the rocks later to break them up, hopefully make them look a little more random. That's not this step, that's the next step. No, I don't think I want it that dark. I think we'll raise the value a little bit. Raise the value. Raise the value flag. But keep the colors cool. I'll raise the temperature of these colors as we go higher on the boulder, but close to the water I'm going to keep it cool. Cool and blue. get some decent broadband this morning so that I can send this out. Seems like a good Saturday video to me. But I've had it where it's taken 7 hours to upload a 1-hour video, and that's because we don't get good service here sometimes. Oddly enough. Oddly enough. Anyway. Oops. I'm leaving this star, you know, this little starburst here of crack. It's interesting. I like it. I will more than likely go a little bit purple in there, you know, in some of the cracks, in the odd place, just to give some hint of a variety of color. But that will be among the last of the things that I do to the rock. No, I'll go a little higher value. Shapes within shapes, always shapes within shapes. I'm going to take that right off the edge. We need a little bit of redesigning up in here. We'll start with that. Okay, let's go to some raw umber now. Throw that into the mix. Warm the temperature up a little bit. What's that? That's okay. That's fine. I'll take this paint, I'll go over a little bit of that. Not much. Excuse me. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, I have to give some thought to this area. I'll square the camera off so that you can see what we're on about here more clearly. The rocks still look very busy, of course, and that's okay. As I said, the reason they look that way is because I just haven't got to straightening these things out yet. Alright, let me just square off the easel, level out the easel a little bit. Yeah, small shapes within larger shapes. I'm having fun, I can tell you that much. And then suddenly a splash of sunlight on that rock. Okay, with a few adjustments and a little bit of grooming, I think that we'll have some interesting stuff to look at in the foreground. Have a good weekend, guys. See ya.